It's just, to me, camp, I can't explain it, and like writing a letter home, it's so hard to tell a friend or your parents what this looks like up here. You tell them there's trees and mountains, and you sleep outdoors, and they say, well, we can do that outside, there's trees and mountains. But this is just, it's not like that. It's just completely different to me.
Love is a place, and through this place of love, move with brightness of peace all places. Yes is a world, and in this world of yes, live skillfully curled all worlds. UniCamp could be called a place, or rather two places. Two campsites at the 6,000-foot level in the San Bernardino Mountains above Barton Flats. It's been there in steadily growing forms for 35 years. And in 35 years, over 15,000 children, underprivileged, diabetic, blind, and partially sighted, have made the long, hot bus ride up to these places for one of the 10-day sessions. 5,000 college students from UCLA, UCR, LACC, Irvine, and even a few interlopers from USC, Texas, Harvard, anywhere, who have asked to take part as volunteers in this experience, have spent 10 days counseling. And there are so many other words contained in that one, counseling. The kids are recommended by social work agencies, the Los Angeles Metabolic Clinic and the Braille Institute. The counselors are recruited through the University Religious Conference at UCLA, the organization that sponsors UniCamp. The money comes in the form of donations raised by the students and other volunteers, $50,000 for each summer. From June to September, they meet in the mountains to make it happen. The place, the time, the event, called UniCamp.
I sat at the window, letting my heart out to play in skies without ceilings and roads that run away. But walls fill my windows, and these are only games I'm playing. Remember me. Then you said, well, Thursday's a highway. The summer will tell you so. We'll travel a long time on dreams we've yet to know. Well, hurry up, Thursday. Your little child has far to go. Remember me.
I really had no idea until I got here. I saw the camp, I saw the area, and I imagined what it would be like having a lot of children running around and having fun. That first day, when I first got up here, it was an orientation. I learned who my boys would be and who I would be counseling with. I met some of the other counselors, and we went over some of the things we were going to do. Previous to this, I hadn't really understood how much there was to be done. And then that night, sleeping under the stars, kind of feeling cold, but still warm inside. You're waiting for your children, wondering who they're going to be and what they're going to be like. I almost couldn't fall asleep. That first morning of the first week, the Tuesday, it was quite a day. We all got up early in the morning and got all set to welcome whoever we got to council. We went down, waited for the bus, and when we saw the bus come, at least for myself, a kind of a warm feeling came over me, being able to see a busload of kids, being able to come up and get away from the city and away from perhaps some things that aren't too good, into a place that was going to be tried to be made good.
You have here, you can't see the stars at your house, and it's too hot in the house. I like it in the mountains better because it's safer, because everybody try to get in your house and stuff like that where I live. I don't know about no place else.
I said one morning, the city's still in my eyes. Someone had painted the mountains and the skies. We climbed that mountain and everyone could see me laughing. Remember me.
And at first they were really shy, and I wondered, gee, how close am I going to be able to get to them? And by the second day, you realize that they really trust you, and that they know that you're trying to make them have fun and to make them understand a few things.
I don't know, I came up with the idea that all of a sudden I was going to be everything all the black children needed. I was going to be the one that they could all relate to when they had problems. And I think I learned that the most important thing was for them to find out that not only did I care about them, but the white counselors cared about them, the Oriental counselors cared about them, the Mexican-American counselors cared about them, that the world cares about them. Most of the kids that come up here have the attitude that the world doesn't care about me. They don't care what happens to me. The only people that care is my family, if they care. And I think UniCamp can really do a lot just for the children if they can show them that there is an outside world. We're a part of the outside world, and that we care.
It's a new experience, spending 24 hours with 6 little children. It's almost as if you were their mother for 10 days. You become a part of them, and they become a part of you. It's like they're giving something to you, and you're giving something to them.
It's a total living experience. We're up here for 10 days, and we're with them all day, all night. We have to do everything with them. We're forced to love them for all of their faults, and especially their good qualities. They're very physical. They're very physical children. They love love. They love attention. We're forced to give them this, much more for myself than I've even done at home.
I had lots of fun here at UniCamp. My counselor is nice to me, and he's nice to the other kids. He always helps me whenever I need help. I sleep outside at UniCamp because it's nice outside when we get to see the stars and clouds. Last night I saw a lot of clouds and hardly any stars. It was nice last night, and I was warm.
Yet are we mindful, though not as yet awake, of ourselves which shout and cling, being for a little while, and which easily break, in spite of the best overseeing.
Most of the children, especially underprivileged children, have built up a wall where they're afraid if they let it down, someone's going to hurt them. Someone's going to really get to them and tear them down or step on them. These were automatically turned off. And they didn't realize that these kids wanted to be loved just as much as anyone else wanted to be loved. They wanted you to reach out and hug them just as much as the children that would come up to you and cuddle next to you. But they were afraid. They didn't know how to say, hey, look at me, here I am, love me too.
I saw you running, pulling your shadows behind. So many hands and so many worlds to find. Oh, when will I ever have the hands to hold you all? Remember me.
UniCamp, to me, means a whole lot now. I think these kids, at least a lot of them, are going home with the idea that, hey, there's a world out there and I'm going to be a part of it. They need to see that they can get it too, that the ghetto isn't the end of everything, the beginning and the end, that there is life and we want to love them and we're going to reach out to them and bring them into us.
And when on the dark steel came the roads of a milky mist and a spray of stars, bunches and squares, and a spatter of stars. We counted stars, one by one, a million and a million. And we remembered those stars as fishermen remember fish, as bees remember blossoms, as crops remember rain. And these were rooms, too. We can so reckon. We can always say, we have gone through great rooms together.
I think that the difference between the mountains, the cities, is that you have a lot of fun in the mountains. You get to see the trees, and you look at the river, and you look at all the beauty that nature has done. And the night hike, it was all right except for somebody keep the applesauce over. The city's all right, but except there's a lot of hustle in the city. In the mountains, you run free and everything.
They love the activities. They never get to do a lot of the stuff that we do. They've never shot bows and arrows before. The stuff that we make in arts and crafts, they've just read about it, but they've never really had a chance to make anything. And to make it for themselves and take it home is a big part in their lives. They keep the things for a long time.
Working in arts and crafts, I found that something of an interest to myself was that the children always painted their faces of all the people with either yellow or fleshy color. There was never anyone that painted in black at all.
And I saw that they wanted someone they could look at and see something of themselves in. If they saw some part of themselves in me, well, then they could look up to me and come to me and let themselves out to me.
I think one UniCamper taught me a lesson one day. She summed up the camp as, UniCamp was a big church, and everyone loved each other. And here we were, standing outside underneath the trees. The sun was just going down. It was beautiful out. She kind of looked up at the sky, and she turned around and said again, and we all love each other. This kind of is really an emotional thing for me, because I have never felt as much love then as I have felt then.
Maybe God is a child's hand, very carefully bringing to you and to me, and quite without crushing, the papery, weightless, diminutive world with a hole in it.
And another thing is, like, many times there were difficult problems that we'd have with the kids, and like you get really frustrated and disgusted, and you just feel like just going into one of the highest mind, just crying and just shouting or something like that. And then I look back and think, you know, I'm getting mad at these kids for something they're doing to me, and like it makes you look at yourself more.
What actually happened was
I read some of these reports on the kids and found out that they'd lived in small homes with maybe 9 or 10 brothers and sisters. And the funny thing was they seemed to smile and laugh just like I did when I was a child, just like my younger brothers and sisters do, and I'm sure just about all happy children in this world. But then, as they grow older, they seem to lose this. There's something definitely wrong. As you come attached to these children through 10 days of constant togetherness, you just can't help but see these problems and want to do as much as you can for them. Before, I was just content with what I was going to do the next day, and these people lived 30 miles away, and it was none of my concern. But now it is, and I want to go on further.
It's a stress situation almost for a counselor. To be with his kids and to force himself to show his good side for 10 days, that's a long time. And it's very difficult. It's very hard to be a counselor. You have to be with them all the time because they deserve the best that you've got.
Sometimes in the morning, I'd ask life to leave me alone. Let me exist in a corner of my own. You gave me a window, looking out is up to me. Remember me.
Each of my campers have a problem. They're diabetic, and they are realizing that no one else is going to watch over them all their lives. They're going to have to do it themselves. And they found out that, we're here to help them, but there's a certain time when they have to do things on their own. And they realize this now, and UniCamp has brought this out.
When I first became a diabetic, I thought how terrible I'd be all alone. When I came to UniCamp, there were just at least 100 kids just like me, and I got along so well with everybody and learned of my condition. I'd only had it for a few months, and kids up here had had it all their lives, or a year, or maybe just a week, but it was just great, and each year I came back.
Camp has meant a great deal to me, and especially this year, especially with the diabetic. Being a diabetic myself for 19 years, I can probably get a little bit closer than some. I don't know about next year or years after. Campers have to grow up, and I think this is what I should do. But UniCamp is just the greatest thing in the world for me, and I have really, really loved every minute of it.
What I tried to do was get into the same bag that the campers were in, get into the same mood, just tune in on what was happening at them at this time, at this age of their lives. They're all learning about sex, the rules and standards that their society has set for them. And I was finding out about these rules with them too. One thing that happened during the session was one of my boys tried to hang himself from a tree. I talked him down, and he was going to be sent home, but I asked that he be allowed to stay, because I thought that this would be his only chance of making anything of himself, to give himself some self-confidence, to give him a base on which to grow. Most of the kids here need something. They need understanding more than anything else. And whether or not you know the right answers, I'd say it's enough just to be able to understand.
Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better.
When I first learned that I was going to cancel it, the blind session, I was sort of apprehensive about working with the blind children because I wasn't sure just how I could react to them or just what I could do for them. But I had one totally blind girl in my unit that was so independent, so well-adjusted that most of the counselors in the camp didn't know that she was totally blind till about the third or fourth day. We were joking around one evening, and I pretended like I was blind. I closed my eyes, and she guided me to the biffies. And it was really an experience for me because I knew that she couldn't see the way, but in a way, I trusted her because I knew that she could find her way around so well. And we were walking along, and all of a sudden she just yelled to me, "Stop!" And I said, "What's the matter?" And she goes, "There's a tree in front of you." And I go, "Well, how do you know that?" She goes, "Well, when you're blind, you just get this sense of knowing where things are." And I reached out my hand, there's this big, huge tree right in front of me. We'd sit around at night at a campfire, and everyone would be so happy when someone would share some good thing that happened, when a blind girl would maybe put her face in the water for the first time in the swimming pool and no longer be scared, or a boy that just, an underprivileged child that received maybe very little attention and praise at home, smiled when he was learning to accept the love that the counselors were so willing and wanting to give at camp. I just felt so much of a reaching out and stretching out hands to everybody. I lived in the city all my life, and I've never really been as close to nature and felt really woodsy like I have these 2 weeks. And by woodsy, I mean dirty and tired and everything else, but it's a great feeling, and I think everyone should experience it sometime in their life.
All in all, you try and put people together and places together. It kind of all comes out in kind of an order. You learn about each boy, and you kind of think about them in your mind and wonder whether they've learned that much from you, and whether they've learned that much from the camp. And that last day, when I said goodbye to them on the bus, it was the first time that they said goodbye to me. It's the first time that they had really come to me and said, "Goodbye, Larry."
Long after summer, you'll sing my songs again, touching the sun as the sidewalks run with rain. Your smiles are a summer, and yes, is more than just a word. You'll remember me.
And I found out that kids are the most beautiful creatures in the world, and they're free and they have a world of their own that they're growing into. And I feel like that I was helping to develop into this world and helping them go someplace.
I think all of us should work together now to make sure that a lot of people learn about UniCamp and that a lot more children have the opportunity to come up and share what I have with
all the wonderful people.
I think the greatest joy was at the end of the session when we found the true feelings in the last day of the boys who really enjoyed camp. And little Luis, who came up to me and put his arms around my legs and told me he didn't want me to go and wanted me to stay on the bus with him, but I couldn't.
I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes, which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes.